2016 has not been a good year for me, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded an actual video, and I know that I promised that I'd be more frequent on this site, which I promptly disappointed you with, much to none of your surprise. But in terms of health, it's been a whirlwind for me. And I took it upon myself to not do this unless I am 100%. And among other reasons, which I'll get into later, has not really been the case for me. And first of all, I'll explain exactly what I'm going through in terms of health for those who aren't really familiar. For those of you who do not know, I have Crohn's disease. I was diagnosed in March of 2013, and essentially what it is that it's an autoimmune disorder to where there is buildup of inflammation, particularly in your intestines and your colon, to where your immunities and your antibodies are almost completely redirected to that inflammation, to where it combats pretty much exclusively the inflammation, and it's chronic. It's never ending. I've got this until I'm dead. With the inflammation, the most embarrassing part of this disease, at least in my opinion, is that with the inflammation in your intestines, your waste cannot handle your intestines cannot handle the waste, and what it essentially does is that it expedites the waste to where you essentially have to urgently go to the bathroom, and it happens like in double digits. And no joke, this happens at least 10 times a day. You heard me correctly. I have to go to the bathroom at least 10 times a day on a good day. On a good day to where a whole bunch of other shit isn't happening. Literally and figuratively, of course. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Crohn's can do. With your immune system compromised, it opens up a whole new can of worms in terms of getting sick, an infection. And lo and behold, I have been sick constantly, and I've been getting infections. And by the way, here's where it gets the really gross stuff, so you may want to click out now in case you don't want to have nightmares. On top of constant fever and almost endless abdominal pain, I've been getting infections in and around my butt. There's really no way to sugarcoat it or abridge it. I've been getting abscesses around the perianal area, and it causes so much pain, and it causes fever, and again, it causes so much pain to where there are sometimes I can barely even move. To call Crohn's disease an inconvenience is a drastic understatement. I've been prescribed all of the drugs, and since my diagnosis, I have had 3 CT scans, 4 MRIs, 4 colonoscopies, 1 endoscopy, 3 surgeries, and 3 different hospital visits. I almost died one time. My fever got so bad, it spiked up to 105, and I went to the emergency room and I was admitted immediately, and they stuck 2 IVs in me in both of my arms, pumped me full of antibiotics, and I was there for 6 hours trying to get the fever to drop down, and they finally admitted me into a room, and I was in the hospital for 6 days being monitored. It's physically draining. Working my day job piled on with all the medications that I'm taking, one of which requires me to go to a special clinic and sit in a chair and have them administer it through an IV, which takes 3 hours, and it leaves me completely drowsy and drained for the next couple days. It's also an emotional anchor too, because it's left me in a state of fear of really going out in public, because I'm afraid of not being able to get to a bathroom in time, and it's left me unable to do a lot of things that I really want. Sometimes I end up doing them anyway, and sometimes it turns out fine, sometimes it doesn't. But with this pre-existing condition, there's really no telling what can happen. I can't go hiking, I'm not able to work out as much. Whenever I do, I pretty much have to work out right next to a bathroom, which means I can't join a gym, I have to work out at home. And
I'm not able to go out for walks, and I can't go out walking great distances. I can't go running either. I can't do like high impact cardio anymore, like insanity and stuff like that, because it could trigger something, and I'd have to rush to the bathroom. So I can't do high impact cardio. Doing stuff in terms of walking outside is extremely limited, especially if I want to do stuff like Pokemon Go. Thankfully, there's a park nearby with a bathroom, and I've been able to make it a couple times. There are some times where I didn't, and that was embarrassing. No matter how much reassurance I get with people saying, well, you shouldn't be embarrassed about it, it's something you can't control, there's just something in the back of my head saying, you're better than this. You're 25 years old, and you're incontinent, and you occasionally shit your pants. There's no way to abridge that. And it's kind of embarrassing saying it now, but I feel like it has to be addressed. And the worst part about this is that eventually I learned that I'm going to have part of my colon removed. And what that means is that I'm going to have something called an ileostomy, which means they reroute my intestines to where the end of my intestine is poking out of my side right here, and my waste is going to come out of a bag on my side. And that's going to help with having to go to the bathroom all the time, to where it just comes out of the side of my bag. So there's still going to be abdominal pain and whatnot, but at least some embarrassment will be saved, so I can go out and do more stuff outside without fear of something embarrassing happening. They say it's probably going to be temporary. They say it might be permanent in case of, depending on what the results are. But who knows? That's not the only reason why I haven't been active on this site. The truth is, I feel like I've lost my mojo. I've just had zero motivation to make videos, specifically for PMRants. Goatface Gaming has been semi-regular. I promised 5 episodes a week, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. But the thing about that is, PMRants has really become a chore for me. I feel like it's become a chore for me. I don't really get much enjoyment out of it anymore, because I like to see myself evolving as an entertainer, and I don't know. I am my biggest critic, and I feel like I'm just not good enough. And that's probably a byproduct of me watching YouTubers with a similar channel structure that are objectively better than I am. And it should be a motivator, but it's, to me, how I work, I like to script my videos. And I hold myself up to a really high standard. So by the time I make a script that meets my standards, the topic in question, it's already long past, and people have moved on to whatever stupid shit that's going on. And that's a big demotivator right there. And on top of all that, it just doesn't feel fun anymore. And I've constantly looked at myself and said, do I really want to keep doing this? I mean, I never envisioned YouTube as being a permanent establishment, and I've always wanted to go on and do bigger and better things, but I know people are subscribed to me and people kind of depend on me, and I don't know if that's egotistical or say or not. That's up to you to decide, but really, I hold myself up to a high standard. I want to make videos that I want to look back and watch and still enjoy myself. And that standard has gotten really, really high with just wanting to improve myself and wanting to match the quality of other channels, and I don't feel like I've been able to meet that standard. A lot of people are begging me to make more videos and be more consistent, but the thing about that is I have a day job. YouTube doesn't pay my bills, and I can't really dedicate a lot of time to it. And on top of all that, YouTube, at least specifically with the PMRants channel, it just feels like a chore now. And I don't really get a lot of enjoyment out of it anymore. A bit of advice for you guys: if you don't really enjoy what you're doing and you have an option to stop, then stop. And I've taken that hiatus, and I've been trying to find inspiration for the direction on where to take this channel. That doesn't mean I'm retiring. PMRants isn't going to be gone forever, and I'm not promising a comeback with regular intervals anytime soon, but I need to be inspired to make PMRants again. Some of you may be asking, what about Goatface Gaming? Goatface Gaming is uploaded semi-regularly. Well, Goatface Gaming is, I wouldn't say easy to edit, but it feels like it's less of a strain to edit. And it doesn't feel like it's a chore anymore, unlike PMRants. I am physically, creatively, and emotionally drained. I know that's what some of you don't want to hear, but it's the truth. I have no excuses for my lack of activity. I mean, Crohn's disease, it's bad. It's the worst 6 out of 10 disease out there, but some people have had worse, and some people have carried on regardless. So I've got nothing to show for. I've just been a piece of shit, and I apologize, and I want to be inspired again. This is free form. I don't have a script for this video, so I'm probably repeating the same goddamn thing over and over and over again, but I want to be inspired again. I want to match the quality of the YouTube channels that I watch, who I think are objectively better than I am. That's without argument, that are better at me than writing, better at me at editing, better at me at presentation, and I want to match that and possibly surpass them, not to toot my own horn, but just as a way to better myself as an entertainer and maybe as a person. And there you have it. I wish I had a more extravagant excuse for you guys, but the truth is I've just been lazy on top of being sick. Although, I do have some ideas brewing in the back of my head that hopefully will come to fruition sometime within the next century or two, and hopefully I can get back to being regular about this. But the thing about it is, like, I work a day job, I need to keep my income up to put a roof over my head, and YouTube doesn't pay my bills, and with the new algorithm, it's even harder to do that. So, I can't promise regularity on this channel yet. It's maybe not even weekly videos. I mean, I wish I could do that, and I want to be more diverse with this channel. I do want to keep going with this channel. I do want to grow this channel, and I feel like to do that, I want to diversify it in terms of content. Shit-talking other YouTubers has run its course. It's not fun anymore, and I want to talk about other things. It's my channel. I want to do what I want with it. So, for those of you who are asking about the top 10 worst YouTube channels that everyone watches, the Volume 3, I can't say it's not happening, but it may not be for a while, and I want to take that in a direction as objectively as possible, to where it's not about the content they make, but how they negatively affect the community and how we should strive to be better than them. So it's probably not going to happen this year, because it may not even happen in 2017, depending on what my schedule is, because I'm trying to move, and that's going to be a whole ordeal, but it's happening. Top 10 Best and Worst YouTube Channels Volume 3 will happen eventually. There's no date for it, but it's going to happen eventually. But there's one more thing that I'd like to address. Depending on when this video comes out, and it's going to be a long video, and I don't know how much editing effort I'm going to put into it, but it's going to be my birthday. Either it's before, on, or after my birthday. It's August 28th. I'll be 25 years old, which means a third of my life is over. 75 is when your quality of life completely starts to plummet, so I'm just going to bow out by then. That's a joke, by the way. But if you guys want to do something for my birthday, here's what you can do for me. You can help me by donating to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go and donate to them. They don't know that I'm doing this, but I figured that with this platform and my sizable audience, hopefully I can do some good for other people who are suffering from Crohn's disease. That's all for now. Hopefully I'll see you guys really, really, really soon. I can't guarantee it. It all just depends on how life decides to treat me these next coming months. Thank you for sticking with me and have a good day. Disorder to where there is buildup of inflammation, particularly in your intestines and your colon, to where your immunities and your antibodies are almost completely redirected to that inflammation, to where it combats pretty much exclusively the inflammation, and it's chronic. It's never ending. I've got this until I'm dead. With the inflammation, the most embarrassing part of this disease, at least in my opinion, a whole bunch of other shit isn't happening. Literally and figuratively, of course. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Crohn's can do. With your immune system compromised, it opens up a whole new can of worms in terms of getting sick and infection. And lo and behold, I have been sick constantly, and I've been getting infections. And by the way, here's where it gets the really gross stuff, so you may want to click out now in case I am 100%. And among other reasons, which I'll get into later, has not really been the case for me. And first of all, I'll explain exactly what I'm going through in terms of health for those who aren't really familiar. For those of you who do not know, I have Crohn's disease. I was diagnosed in March of 2013, and essentially what it is that it's an autoimmune thing, is that with the inflammation in your intestines, your waste cannot handle your intestines cannot handle the waste. And what it essentially does is that it expedites the waste to where you essentially have to urgently go to the bathroom, and it happens like in double digits. And no joke, this happens at least 10 times a day. You heard me correctly. I have to go to the bathroom at least 10 times a day on a good day. On a good day to where a whole 2016 has not been a good year for me, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded an actual video, and I know that I promised that I'd be more frequent on this site, which I promptly disappointed you with, much to none of your surprise. But in terms of health, it's been a whirlwind for me. And I took it upon myself to not do this unless